Hi, I'm Terry Grahl. I'm the founder and creator of Enchanted Makeovers. Handmade items for Enchanted Makeovers symbolizes, for me, it's really about my mother's love. That's what she gave to all of her children, and that's what I want to give back to the women and children. We believe that handmade carries the love and the positive energy of that creator, and it's part of the healing process for the giver and the receiver. Every makeover that Enchanted Makeovers does always includes a mural. Murals are so important. With every makeover, it's really the power of the imagination and our mind. The crafters here at the Creative Connection in St. Paul, Minnesota are so important because not only do we have local donors, but we have national and international donors. But it's important that we also connect on the human connection with donors, and we know their story. That's just as important to say, yes, you have that beautiful item you want to donate, but what is your story? We believe that love is in the detail.
My name is Tracy Thompson. I am a professional fine artist and a custom mural painter. At the beginning, I really didn't know anything about Enchanted Makeovers. People at Wet Paint who knew me, and they called me up and said, would I be willing to work on this mural? And they got as far as women's shelter, and I said, yes, I'm in. It was after the fact that I found out what Enchanted Makeovers actually does, and I kind of fell in love with it at that point. I think that environment is so critical to how you feel and how you think of yourself and how you function that it made instant sense to me what they were doing, and I got really excited about contributing to that and becoming part of it. The key is a representation of the opportunities that you have in your life and having enough courage and enough faith to take hold of that and open up the doors that you find. The golden ticket, as Terry conceived it, is similar to the one for the chocolate factory for Willy Wonka, that it was an opportunity that you got, and then you had to make sure that you had enough character and enough determination to see it through, that you can do it. And it's about taking the responsibility of picking that up and making the most of the opportunities that you have. I don't think you can work with an organization like Enchanted Makeovers without starting to look around at your own life and go, all right, what ticket have I not picked up off the ground yet? And what keys might I be holding and not using as well as I could? And so it's only been a few days, and I'm already looking a little differently at my life and at what I can do with what I have.
I'm Nancy Soriano, and I am co-founder of the Creative Connection, and I am also publishing director at FNW Media. Handmade and women in design have always been a big part of my life, who I am and what I've always done. And I was also editor-in-chief of Country Living magazine for 10 years. So handmade, crafting, antiques such as quilting, things that are passed down generation to generation, I've always felt are very important as an editor, as a professional, as a marketer, and I guess also first and foremost as a parent and a daughter. So it's always been very close to my heart. Enchanted Makeovers, I think, is a really unique and very important organization because ultimately home is so central to everybody, and many of the girls and women that Enchanted Makeovers works with come from really challenged homes, if not broken homes. And so I think to have that centered sense of place, you know, in your home, in your bedroom, probably the most personal, intimate space, is really important. And the concept and notion of having handmade and vintage items as well, because many vintage items have a handmade component to them, and even if they're not completely handmade, they represent, I think, an important lesson, which is having value in something and then passing it on, and not just discarding it if you don't have an immediate use for it or whatever. I think it's important also to with objects, and especially for Enchanted Makeovers and their mission and what they're doing, is to have an emotive connection to these objects. And I think when you really make something with your hands, you take the time to learn it, and maybe it's not really perfect, but you did it, it gives you a certain type of sense of self and pride. And I think when you're really battling issues of, you know, abuse or broken homes or a sense of self or whatever that is, to have that experience of making something from beginning to end or having something given to you that somebody else has made, it's a really special and unique thing, because it is a unique item and it's yours. And I think that really also speaks to this idea of home, community, which is really important. It connects the girls and the women, that they're all sort of have this common experience. And I think it's hard for many people to have a common experience, especially when you're going through a lot of issues and trauma. For me, I think it's a very smart, dynamic, and really restorative, kind of renewing experience for people in these homes.
I'm Christine Hoffman, and I am the event coordinator and event designer for the Creative Connection event. As a designer myself, I've often thought, because design can be often out of reach to people, it's, you know, you look at these magazines, it's all very high-end designers, and I've always worked with people on much smaller projects and kind of more affordable and reachable design. And I think oftentimes it seems like having a pretty home or design is out of reach for a lot of people, and it shouldn't be, because having that kind of environment around you enables you to kind of move forward in your life. It's not a luxury, you know, it should be available to everyone to have the environment they want and can be happy in. That's what Enchanted Makeovers is all about. They're creating these environments for women who would not have an opportunity to have a lovely quilt or a lovely handmade item, or, you know, a bedroom that they can feel safe and at home in. I think as women, we're kind of doers and givers, so having handmade items around us, it just gives you kind of that comfort of home.
My name is Amy Berkman. I am from Kansas City. I have two companies, Indigo Junction and the Vintage Workshop. Handmade has been so popular recently. I think with a handmade gift, a handmade accessory for the home, there's just extra meaning in something like that, especially to both the maker and the receiver. And I think for Enchanted Makeovers, the idea that women are surrounded by products that have heart. They're not just manufactured, they actually have a story behind them, and it can have such meaning to someone who's maybe feeling a little alone or disconnected. So I think that just is a really special way that Terry has been able to bring comfort and happiness and a little sunshine into people's lives. Vintage has been a big part of what has brought new product development in my companies, both the Vintage Workshop and Indigo Junction. And it's really how Terry and I connected originally. So we produce patterns that are inspired by vintage textiles. We also collect vintage artwork and offer that for people to craft with or decorate with. And that, always the theme through the vintage, it always, again, has a story behind it, and people love that story. I worked with Terry on developing a relationship with the pillowcase program, and I know from working in the quilt shop and seeing how genuinely excited people were to be able to do something for someone else. So I think it's a wonderful give and take, and it's great to see that women helping women, there's always the need and there's always a helping hand there. I think Terry's been wonderful at really taking that to the next level with Enchanted Makeovers.
Hi, my name is Heather Valentine, and I like to make things out of reclaimed, recycled, and repurposed items. The pillows that I'm giving as the gift are representing to me the past, present, and future. They're made from something that's from the past, created into something that's today, the present, and they're being given to someone as a gift. And I think that Enchanted Makeovers and handmade items, there's no greater gift to give than something handmade. Honestly, it started just because my family did it out of necessity, and here I am, how many years later, still using the basic fundamentals, from taking a blazer and recreating it into something else. The pillows are actually made from old pieces of clothing. The hair is, created from that. And I really think that people need to remember that everything we touch affects everything else. So there's no greater, belonging to the connection to the earth than to continue to go forward and reuse it. When you give something, then when you make it yourself and you give it as a gift, you're giving a piece of yourself.